Good morning. We are on day 18 and we are going to go back from a couple days ago about taking action on your what if questions that require action. So, 2 days ago we did our what if questions. So, you had the negative and the positives. The negatives that take you down worry, versus the positives that lead you into action. And then yesterday we talked about the worry. So all of those what if questions that lead you into worry. Today we're going to talk about all the what if questions that lead you into needing to take action. So let's dive in. And today I have a quote, but I've also added a couple Bible verses that we're going to talk about. And so it says to look back at your what if questions and the ones that require action. Create your action steps, and then we're going to write down some short term and long term goals in order to complete these things. And the quote I have is knowing is not enough, we must apply. Wishing is not enough, we must do. By Johann Wolfgang von, I think that's Goethe. I'm not sure. Um, so when we and so this is where I get stuck, daydreaming, in a sense. So I have these ideas and things I want to do, but I think about the whole process. I think about the completion of it. I think about the accolades afterwards, and or like, oh, I'll make money by doing this, or people are going to love this. People are going to, and you go through this whole storyline, but I don't actually take action to do the thing. And so when God asked me and called me to write a book, I was in that space. I was in my head for a while. And then finally I started writing and taking action. And then when you come up against walls, because most of us do, not everybody, um, it was like I had to just keep plugging through, plugging through, plugging through to get to the completion, to actually finish the book. And then after I finished it, I needed it to be published. And what did that look like? To actually go through the entire process. And I've done that twice, and I'm working on my third. And it's funny because it's like, wow, I really needed this today to just keep plugging, keep going, so that way I can get to the finish line. And so, praying through this morning, I was like, okay, what are some verses? And I love Proverbs because, that's all about wisdom. And so the one is Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. So in your heart, you have these things, you have these ideas, you have these desires, these passions, these goals. And then God will give you the steps to take. But what if you don't take the steps? Well, let me tell you, Proverbs 6:9-11. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. Yeah, ouch. Um, and so that was this verse I have been, it keeps coming to mind. And I think about a little slumber, a little folded, a little folding of the hands to rest. I mean, I just picture that. Um, in like some of the things that I do, how I spend my time. There's times that I just want to sit and not do anything, not think, not write, not reach out, not create any more images on Canva, not do anything at all. And then pretty soon I'm just sitting and sitting, and it's like, oh, you sluggard. Poverty's going to come at you like a thief. Um, Because even though, like, maybe while I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about all the things, I got all these great ideas. And it's like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could create this. Oh, this would be really good. This would be a perfect lead magnet to step into this. And but if I don't actually take action, it's just a lovely little story in my head. It doesn't ever come to fruition. And that's where we get stuck. And so that's where we can get stuck in our head because we keep replaying this fantasy, this dream, these great ideas, these passions, these heart things, these heart passions. We're like, oh, but God put it on my heart, so He's going to bless it. It's like He will, but you actually have to do it. He can't bless something that's just in your head. And then He's not going to bless it if you don't complete it, if you only go like halfway. And so there's such a fine line in this, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. There are steps. And when you take a step, you're moving. Like, you can't take a step and not actually move. Even as a itty bitty baby step, you still moved, either forward or backward, but you're moving. And so the Lord cannot establish your steps unless you're moving. You've got to move. You've got to take all of these heart plans, these desires, these passions, and move. Do something with it. And so this is something, like I said, like with my books, I can just sit and think about these books and what I want to write, but I actually have to sit in front of the computer and type it out. And I'm so close to getting this third one done. And I do, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to take action. Like, I have to just sit, and sometimes it's hard. There are days that it's hard, that you're just having to like force yourself to do the things and to write and to be honest and to get it out on paper. Because for me, my brain is wired a little different. I have a math degree because that always made sense to me. I didn't like journaling. I didn't like writing. It was never a passion for me. And so it's hard. It's like, like, I gotta do this. Like, I'd rather do a puzzle than read a book. And so it's something that God has really challenged me to do, because I have all of this in my head and I have a hard time getting it clear out. Like, all of this in my head, sometimes I have a hard time getting it out on paper to where it's like clear and makes sense. And even just like you'll notice sometimes in these videos I like pause, like, because I have to think through the things, I got to process, think it through, and so to do my writing, to do these kind of creative things, sometimes it takes a lot of energy and focus. And there's times when I just don't want to put all that focus into the day, and that is where a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands takes place. And so fighting through that is what I have to do. And so today, as you really think about like all your what ifs, like, what if I finished whatever? And a lot of times it has to do with some kind of creativity, painting, writing, crocheting, a lot of stuff that we do with our hands. Or it could be like, what if I finally lost that 10 pounds that I've been really wanting to lose? And not only that, but think of how awesome it would be to lose that 10 pounds before the end of the year, Because sometimes we look at the holidays and we're like, yeah, but that's when I eat all the good things. That's when I just don't worry about the calories. I just eat it and enjoy it and whatever. But then come January, it's going to be 20 pounds instead of the 10. So what if during this time you actually were able to lose the 10 pounds and still enjoy? Because there are ways you can do that. You can still enjoy lots of yummy, tasty food and not gain 10 pounds. You can still lose 10 pounds. You just have to do it the right way, in moderation, and pay attention. It's not starving yourself. It's not this like hold on to willpower kind of thing. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just making more thoughtful decisions and really connecting again, because a lot of this thinking we talk about, we are talking about how do we get our thoughts connected to our hearts, and sometimes we have to get our stomachs connected to our thoughts and be like, am I really hungry? Because how many times have you eaten and then you just feel yucky? You feel like so full, so gross. For me, if I have sugar before I go to bed, I wake up with a headache. Used to think it had to do with caffeine, but it's not, it's sugar. And so I'm very careful as to what I eat before I go to bed, because it's like if I have a cookie, a piece of pie, ice cream, whatever, 9 times out of 10, I am going to wake up with a headache. And it's a sugar headache because my body's like, hey, I need another hit. And so, yeah, so it's just making those choices, connecting all those things that go on in our heads, connecting it to our hearts and connecting it to our stomachs. Okay. So as you get into this thinking of your what ifs, just truly ask God, like, what are the things? What are my heart desires? And then pray and ask God to establish your steps. And then so you're going to write out what you could be doing, the short-term and long-term goals. And that could be, writing a book, publishing a book. That can take, for some, it can take 90 days. For others, it can take a year. That is totally up to you. It also kind of depends on the book you're writing. If you're writing just a short little snippet, or let's say you want to write a children's book, but you need an illustrator, that's not your gifting, is the illustrations, then you got to take into account finding an illustrator, finding someone who can really capture what you want, what you envision your book to look like. That all takes time. And so be realistic with those short-term and long-term goals. And there's no right or wrong, and then it also depends on how much time you have. Do you work full time? Do you have a little extra time? Do you not have a little extra time? And so that's going to play a factor into your goals as well. But look at your list, truly look at it, and look at your what ifs. What are some of those things that you've been wanting to do, desiring to do, that you keep putting off? And let's take action. Let's take action and see some fruit. See what God has in it, because I have no doubts He just wants to bless it, and see that come to a reality. Those thoughts in your head to create it into something, and then because you did something with it, now you've opened up more space in your brain, because you're not doing all of the what ifs. You're getting rid of your worries, and now you're taking action, and you're slowly getting rid of that what if, because now you're doing something with it. And that's exactly what God wants us to do. So have fun taking action. Can't wait to hear what you're going to be working on. And yeah, write out your goal, write out your dream, and let's do it.